All right, ladies and gentlemen, with all the prospects coming into the 2025 NBA draft, it's only right if I do a mock draft. I do these every week. I know the past maybe week or so I haven't done a mock draft. I kind of wanted to just let things play out just a little bit more, but that demon at Duke just had 42 points, so you know I'm ready to talk about it. I'm going to try not to take too long talking about these prospects because I know one of my videos was just a lottery mock draft and it was like 45 minutes long, and we're not going to do all that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so we're actually going to be doing a lottery simulation to see how this goes. Let's just see. Hopefully the Sixers don't get the number one pick. Hopefully. Let's see how this goes. And the Raptors get the first pick in the draft. All right, there it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it. Let's start off just like this. All right, with the first pick in the 2025 NBA mock draft at the Buzzer Sports. Let's do this. And did we pick the first round? We used that. Am I tripping? Like what's going on? All right, here we go. Now, once again, I've always been on the side of Cooper Flagg being the number one pick in the draft. I know there has been some type of but like there have been some conversation of Cooper Flagg not being the number one pick in this draft anymore. I think just a lot of that has to do with how we've been promoting Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg has been promoted to be this generational prospect. I don't think you get a generational prospect twice in 3 years. I definitely don't think he's to the level of a LeBron or Hakeem or a Wilt or a Wembanyama, but I do think he is the level of prospect that an Anthony Davis was, a Chet Holmgren. He's in that area to where he can be a game-changing defensive player, and once the offense rolls around, he can be a top 10 player in this league. I do think the length, the help side rim protection, I think he is very aggressive around the rim, and I really do think he's starting to put it together. So I think, especially offensively, I definitely think he's starting to put it together there. So Cooper Flagg is going to be my number one pick for the Toronto Raptors. I know my good friend Pensar Basketball is really hype about this. If the Raptors get the first pick of the draft, he's going to be insufferable. Anyway, up next, we have the Washington Wizards, which I don't hate, actually. You get Dylan Harper here. You have some perimeter defenders around him in Bilal Coulibaly, and you also have a defensive prospect in Alex Sarr, who you can put around him and let Dylan Harper be that volume scorer. I actually really like this for them. So Dylan Harper is going to be going to the Washington Wizards. Now, I already forgot the draft order, but part of me wants to go Ace Bailey here, which is what I'm probably going to do. It would have been nice to see the Portland Trailblazers get the number 2 pick in the draft so they can get Dylan Harper and move Scoot Henderson out of town, because it just has not worked out. But getting Ace Bailey, and once again, I have been coming to Ace Bailey's defense a lot, because when we talk about some of the things that's wrong with Ace Bailey's game, those are things that can be taught. I think somebody with Jaeger Demon, who I'm going to be getting into later on, I think Ace Bailey has the athleticism, he has the size to be able to work that off. Because when you look at Jaeger Demon's game, Jaeger Demon is 6'9", Ace Bailey 6'10". That's both intriguing. They're both bigger wings. Ace Bailey nor Jaeger Demon have the ball handle to be an elite shot creator walking into the NBA. But Ace Bailey has that athleticism that Jaeger Demon doesn't, which still makes Ace Bailey an intriguing prospect. When you look at him in transition, when you look at his leaping ability, when you look at him getting downhill in transition, when you look at the tough shot making that he does possess, there's a world where he can be the best scorer in this draft. I've said this time and time again. So I think Ace Bailey is still a really good prospect. I still think if you take him at number 3, you will still find yourself in a really good situation years down the line with this being your draft pick. So I'm going to be taking Ace Bailey at number 3. Up next, the Charlotte Hornets at the 4th pick. There are a lot of different ways they can go. I think they need a guy like VJ Edgecombe. I definitely think they need a guy like VJ Edgecombe. You have your scorers that work perfectly together. You have LaMelo Ball. You have Brandon Miller. You need that point of attack guy. VJ Edgecombe is about 6'3", 6'4". I don't see 6'5", but he has the speed. He plays well in transition, so he matches with Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. He crashes the glass. He's pesky on defense. And you see a pick and roll type of creativity from him. He's not the shooter, but he definitely does get downhill with the basketball in his hand, and he does work well in the pick and roll. So that's something that you can develop as well. And the jump shot is going to be a question. The jump shot is going to be a serious question. And sometimes when he does get downhill, he is a little off balance when he does drive to the rim. That could lead to some turnovers. But he is a raw defensive prospect that you don't mind taking the pick here with, because you have your guy. No matter how healthy or how injured LaMelo Ball can be, you have your guy and you have your sidekick. You have Brandon Miller. So I think it's time to just start really working around the edges and really starting to shape this team into what you want it to be. And I think VJ Edgecombe is the type of guy you take with this pick. Up next, for the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm just going to take the best player available, and that is Kasparas Yakucionis. I do not believe CJ McCollum or Brandon Ingram will not be here next year. I think Zion Williamson has potential to come back. DeJounte Murray may come back. If you pair Kasparas Yakucionis with the off-ball player he is and the on-ball player he is in the pick and roll, him and Zion can have a great two-man game. The way Zion has made strides as a playmaker, the way Kasparas Yakucionis can play off-ball, the shooter that he's been. Now, I do think Kasparas Yakucionis does dribble himself into trouble just a little bit too much, but I don't think he's going to have those touches in the NBA. I don't think he's going to be dribbling the ball as much as he would at the college level in the NBA. So I think him playing off-ball to Zion Williamson is going to play and factor a lot more of how he can be valuable for the New Orleans Pelicans. So I'm going to be taking Kasparas Yakucionis with the 5th pick to the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, up next, we have the Utah Jazz. And there are plenty of different options for the Utah Jazz. I think in my previous mock draft, I did a mock draft off camera. And that was the order I was going to be set with. I was just going to write down these names and just go off that. But I was like, you know what? Let's shake it up. Let's do a lottery simulation, whatever. I think the Utah Jazz have a lot of young pieces that I struggle to see the future with. Keontae George, I don't love. I think Isaiah Collier is interesting. I don't think, even though he has not been good, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. Isaiah Collier has not been good. Cody Williams has also not been good as well. So right here, you kind of get the 6th pick. I don't know if they love Tre Johnson. I think Jaeger Demon is too rich. Like, to be completely fair, I think you can get Jaeger Demon with the 19th pick later in the draft. Tre Johnson is here. Tre Johnson is here. I think you just go with Tre Johnson. You get the best player available. We did not mean to click on that. Another guy that I'm extremely high on in this draft. There are a few guys that I will defend with my life in this draft. There is Ben Seraph. Love Ben Seraph. Tre Johnson. Ace Bailey. Cooper Flagg. And Khaman Maluach. Those are my 5 guys. But yeah, I think Tre Johnson is the guy here. You get the best player available. You see if that scoring transitions over. One thing he does have, and I really love from him, is he does have a really nice handle. He does work well in the mid-range. He does play well off ball. He has a post game that he uses in the college level at this young of an age where it's so polished that it almost amazes me. The way he's able to play make. I mean, when we look at 2 assists a game, it doesn't necessarily look from the box score that he is playmaking. But when you look at some of these reads that he makes when he has the ball in his hand, those are things you can build off of. When we see the passes that he makes, whether it's lobs in transition or just making the pass out of driving to the rim, you can tell he has a feel for the game that is very impressive. And I think with the right development plan, he can definitely improve on his playmaking. So that's intriguing as well. And he's also a lights out shooter. Give me Tre Johnson with the 6th pick in the draft. As for the Brooklyn Nets, I think part of me is like, you know what? We landed here at the 7th pick. We have 2 years worth of picks in 2025 and 2026. I don't hate taking a guy with the biggest upside or maybe the biggest superstar upside, and that may be Jeremiah Fears. Even though I do think there are some guys on this draft board that can really provide a level of winning basketball right now before Jeremiah Fears. Like, let's just look through it. I think Asa Newell would be able to provide more winning basketball right now. I think Liam McNeeley would be able to provide more right now. Ben Seraph, I do feel like, is a project pick. Colin Murray-Boyles may be able to provide more right now. Khaman Maluach may be able to provide more right now, especially as a rim protector. But when we look at the pure shooting of Jeremiah Smith, the ball handling. But the other thing that really concerns me is I don't think he's going to be able to create elite rim pressure at the NBA level. He is 6'4", but he's really slim. He's really slim to the point where he's going to get picked on. He's going to get picked on a lot. It's going to be hard, especially defensively. Guys are going to beg for him in isolation. He's not going to be able to create that first step, or people are going to be beating him to spots. And then when they do beat him to spots, it's going to be really hard for Jeremiah Smith to create a really good look around the rim because he's not going to be stronger than 95% of the guys on the floor. That is very concerning. But when you look at the combination of on and off ball play, I think he could be a really good spot up shooter. I think he could be a really good motion shooter. He shoots well off the bounce. He does have creativity in the pick and roll and in the in-between game. All those things, if you're willing to buy in on that, and I'm not even the biggest fan of him going top 10, but in the Brooklyn Nets situation, I'm looking for a guy who I can build around. I think Jordi Fernandez is a fantastic coach. And the fact that he is a fantastic coach is why the Brooklyn Nets aren't picking in the top 4. I think if the Brooklyn Nets fall out of the top 5, I would be extremely upset if I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. And it's because we have a fantastic coach in Jordi Fernandez. But it's okay. Jeremiah Fierce. Oh my God. I'm the national championship is right around the corner. That's on me. Jeremiah Fierce with the 7th pick in the draft. There it is. 19-year-old out of Oklahoma. Played in Joliet, Illinois, by the way. Shout out to you, brother. Anyway, OKC. Now, looking at the OKC's picks, they have this pick, they have the 17th pick, and they have the 18th pick. All of these guys are going to be projects. They're going to be projects. So when I look at the board, who are the guys that I say, you know what? This guy can contribute the most in a few years under the right development, sitting behind the right guys. I look at Asa Newell. I look at Murray-Boyles. I look at Khaman Maluach. Those are the 3 guys I look at. They provide something that I feel as though is still a need in OKC. It's size. It's strength. Because when you look at it outside of Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein, this is a pretty small squad. Lou Dort is 6'3". J-Dub 6'5". SGA is 6'6". Isaiah Joe is 6'6", or 6'5", 6'6". I would even lean 6'4". Aaron Wiggins is 6'5". Alex Caruso is about 6'3", 6'4". Kenrich Williams is a 6'7" center. I don't think he's a 4. Cason Wallace is 6'2". He is not 6'4". I think you really need the size. You need the mobile size. I think Asa Newell is the pick here. This is a guy who plays extremely well in transition. He can be a Swiss Army knife defensively with his athleticism, with his length, with the way he moves his feet. You know, I think he does recover well defensively. And all that stuff can be taught. All that stuff can be taught sitting behind Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. I really think this is a really good pick, and I think he's going to be able to show his value later on down the line. Up next for the Chicago Bulls, this is something I talked about earlier. I don't remember where, but the Chicago Bulls are, you would want, right now, you would want, if you're a Bulls fan, you would want the Chicago Bulls to be in a better situation to have a higher pick in the draft. Because as you look at this roster, there's no clear-cut guy that can say, I'm confident giving the franchise to him over the next 5 seasons. I'm confident. There's no guy. I don't see it with Kobe White, even though he's a fantastic player. Don't see it with Ayo Dosunmu, even though he's a fantastic player. Modest Buzelis, I don't see it with him. Fantastic player. Dalen Terry, fantastic player. Don't see it. Julian Phillips, don't see it. And then you're like, you know what? This team is just too talented to be in a top 3 to top 5 conversation with teams like Toronto and New Orleans, who got, not to sound blunt, but got injured. The perfect season to get injured. The perfect season to have injury problems. This is the perfect year because you land Kasparis Yakucionis, who is, in my opinion, a top 4 prospect. So you have to make do with what you have. And what I think you do here is you take Khaman Maluach. I'm extremely high on Khaman Maluach. Uber athleticism, solid strength, great wingspan. He's shown signs to be able to stretch out to the three-point line, even to stretch out to mid-range. If the jump shot never comes around to the three ball, you have the mid-range to lean on. So when you add that together to some great athleticism, being able to play high in pick and rolls, I've seen him be able to recover on guards. He has shown a lot of signs of being more patient as a rim protector. Some guys, when they're this young, I think he's about 18 or 19 years old, they tend to jump out at a lot of blocks or at a lot of opportunities to get blocks or to get the highlight plays. And you just learn to become more patient with your reads, learn to protect the rim a lot better, and you create more possessions for your offense that way. I have always been the biggest believer in blocking a shot and giving the team the ball back does not matter to me. It does not matter to me. If you're swatting the ball out of bounds and now the opposing team now gets the ball back to be able to create something else, that's not valuable to me. It's just being able to put both hands up, contesting the shot, getting the rebound, and creating the most possessions for your team defensively. And I think Khaman Maluach has slowly shown signs of getting better in that aspect. And I think once he puts it together, he's going to be a problem in this league. So I'm taking Khaman Maluach with number 9. As of right now, the Houston Rockets have the 10th pick in the draft. I don't know how much longer they're going to have that, depending on how the Phoenix Suns play throughout the rest of the season. But they have the 10th pick now, and I think they definitely need some shooting. I think right now they kind of have everything you would want. They have the center, they have the wing depth, they have the defense. Just get a guy who can come off some screens. Speaking of that, yeah, because I was going to go Kon Knueppel here because that's usually where I go in these mock drafts. But Liam McNeeley is on the board, who I believe can be a better team defender than Kon Knueppel because I just think Liam McNeeley is more athletic. I think Liam McNeeley does drive to the rim better. Now, there is a small concern I have with that. I think Liam McNeeley doesn't have a lot of fluidity when he is driving to the rim. Sometimes I think he could just be right-hand dominant when driving to the rim, and that's going to be really tough, especially with this Houston Rockets team who is just really inefficient and doesn't have a lot of shooters. So where if people are going to be helping off of men, people are going to be helping off Dylan Brooks, helping off Tari Eason, they're going to be able to rip that up a lot, but I think he can get better with that, and he's already shown to be a really good team defender. I think going to Houston helps that. And he's a really good shooter. He's a sniper. So he's going to be out for a little while. I think he's hurt right now. So I don't necessarily think that's going to drop his draft stock, but I'm very high on Liam McNeeley. So he's going to be going number 10 to the Houston Rockets. Up next, we have the San Antonio Spurs. And there's a few places that this Spurs team can go. And if you're going to ask me, I definitely think it's time to pair Victor Wembanyama with somebody who can be his number 2 scorer. But when we look at the guys on this list, how many guys am I confident could be a number 2 scorer in a championship run? Now, this is just, once again, this is the NBA draft. You know, people are going to get drafts wrong. People are going to get prospects wrong. I don't think anybody in the world would have told you Nikola Jokic is going to be the greatest offensive player that ever lived. Nobody in the world back in the 2014 NBA draft on that draft night said there is a prospect sitting in the second round that's going to be the greatest offensive player of all time. So who knows? Maybe Thomas Sorber is the next Wilt Chamberlain. We never know. You know, we never know. And so for the person that tells you they did is lying to you. They're lying to you. But based off of what I'm looking at right now, there are not a lot of players, except Ben Seraph, of course, that can be number 2s on a championship team. So if the Spurs are in this position, I'm going to go all defense. We have a generational defender, somebody who is probably going to fall as the greatest defender of all time. He can truly be the greatest defender of all time. So why not make this the greatest defensive team in NBA history and draft defense? And I think Colin Murray-Boyles is that. Now, there are a lot of concerns with Colin Murray-Boyles, and I think you may be able to let him fall to 13, and we can go somewhere else with this. And I'm probably going to go somewhere else with this now that I think about it. But I don't hate the Spurs for going all defense. You can take Colin Murray-Boyles here and go get Noah Essengay and call it a day. And say, you know what? We're going to have an extremely athletic, lengthy, strong team around Victor Wembanyama where our 3 is 6'8", our 4 is 6'9", Our center is 7'4", our point guard is 6'6", and our 2 is 6'7". And we're just going to be able to switch everywhere. We're going to be able to switch everything. Everything is going to be switched. And if you beat us, you're getting sent to the best rim protector the league has ever seen. What's wrong with that? I'm just saying. If the Spurs are in a position where they're not going to be able to get a guy that can probably be a number 2 to Victor Wembanyama, which they're probably going to be in a situation where they can't get one of those guys, I don't hate going all defense. I don't hate that. But I'm going to go Kon Knueppel here. I'm going to go Kon Knueppel here. There's, once again, you can never have too much shooting. And I think Kon Knueppel provides that. I think he's a very good off-ball player. There have been a lot of things that I have seen, or at least that I've said before the season started, that I don't necessarily trust his athleticism against NBA level athletes. But once again, looking at his game now, I don't necessarily see him as a guy that's going to be able to create his own shot at the higher level. And I don't think he's going to be asked to do that much either. So Kon Knueppel can just play off ball, play off Wemby, let Stephon Castle grow as the main ball handler. He'd be a guy that you just have to worry about coming off a million screens. So I like Kon Knueppel here. As for the Sacramento Kings, Ben Seraph may just be the pick here. We don't know the future with De'Aaron Fox. I think with how they've been playing as of recently, maybe De'Aaron Fox stays. And that's what leads me to say, why don't we just go get somebody who can help us win now? And how many guys in the draft right now can help you win right now? There's Alex Carabin, who I think is the Tristan da Silva of this draft. If you guys watched me back in the 2024 mocks, you guys know I was extremely high on Tristan da Silva. Now he's playing great. But I had 4 subscribers when the 2024 draft was going along, so nobody watched it. No, I'm just kidding. For everybody that was watching me back in the 2024 NBA draft process, I appreciate it, But I've been one of those guys who was like, you know what, go get a guy like Ben Seraph. You can build the shooting, you can build the playmaking, the pick and roll game that we've seen so far. So I don't hate this. But I think Colin Murray-Boyles provides a level of defense to where him and Keegan Murray on the floor together can wreak havoc. Also with Keon Ellis. So maybe a lineup of De'Aaron, Keon, Colin, Keegan, still Sabonis. Even though he's not the best defensive player, he's still one of the best offensive bigs in the league. So, Colin Murray-Boyles, you are a Sacramento King. You also have Devin Carter. You're building something with this Kings team. Anyway, for the San Antonio Spurs, that's where I was going to go with the 13th pick. I was going to go Colin Murray-Boyles, but now he is not on the board. So why not just go get a secondary ball handler for the future if you're San Antonio? Now, don't get me wrong. San Antonio have always been the type of team to get their guy no matter where they are. Get their guy. So if they draft Noah Essengay here, I don't hate it at all. I'm really going to try and hurry this up because we're already 23 minutes in and we haven't even gotten out the lottery. So as far as it as a matter of fact, I'm making better time because once again, I think there was a mock draft that I have on this channel that was 45 minutes long and we only got through the lottery. So 23 minutes for the 13th pick isn't terrible. Anyway, I think I'm going to go Ben Seraph here. I'm extremely high on Ben Seraph. I think he's a great pick and roll creator. I think he has a really good feel for the game when it comes to creating out of that pick and roll for others. Now, there is a little bit of things that I do have an issue with. I think he does lean a lot on mid-range jumpers, and those mid-range jumpers don't fall at a level that you would like for him to lean on it that heavily. But I am a big believer in his pick and roll creation. I'm a big believer in his ball handling and his play, his not play finishing, but his vision for the floor and being able to see players in a level that a lot of these prospects can't. So I'm taking Ben Seraph here for the San Antonio Spurs. And as for the Sacramento Kings, for the Golden State Warriors, I'm going to take Derek Queen. I think Derek Queen is going to be a project, and I do think he's falling in that tier where it's going to be really hard to really build a team. It's going to be really hard for Derek Queen to really just fall in a team, fall in a system and fall in an organization to make things easier for him because he does operate with the ball in his hands a lot, and he does operate on the perimeter. This is not a guy who is pacing back and forth, block to block, setting screens, rolling to the rim. I do think you can use him in that manner because his ball handling as a big has been impressive. I do think he'll be able to make decisions in the short roll. I do think he finishes through contact pretty well. But once again, he is getting into that Domantas Sabonis, Alperen Sengun's here to where it's just really hard to drop him in a situation. And the situation isn't tailored to him to best succeed. And therefore, he may not succeed as much. But with a guy like Steph Curry, I think he's going to be able to create easy looks for Steph Curry. He is really strong for his size and for his age. So I think he'll be able to be a great screen setter. And once again, like I said, with the stuff with the short roll and just being able to see the floor as a big is very intriguing. So Derek Queen is going to be going at the 14th spot for me. At 15th, this is probably where I was going to take Jaeger Demon. And I said this earlier in the draft process after Jaeger had that hot start. There's still a lot of things that Jaeger Demon was just a little, there was a lot of things in my opinion that still were very concerning with Jaeger Demon's game. And it was really just the athleticism and him not being the ball handler that you would want. And all those shots he were taking, he still takes those shots. It's just now they're not falling. And now you really question how much of a volume shooter he can be and more of an off-ball player instead of being a lead initiator. And I understand taking him up top at the draft because I did it. You know, I thought he would be able to carry that on, or at least carry signs of it enough for him to be a top 5 to 10 pick. And I think my very first mock draft, I had him top 12, but now it's getting to the point where it's like your inconsistencies are really starting to show. The athleticism, the ball handling, the decision making, all those things that were making you so special to start out, we're starting to see it's just not as consistent as you would want it to be for him to be a top 5 guy. And when we look at a lot of these teams who are picking in the top 7, they're going to need a guy who can put the ball on the floor continuously. Brooklyn's going to need it. Toronto's going to need it. Utah's going to need it. All those teams are going to need it. Washington's going to need it. And I just don't think Jaeger Demon can provide that. I do think he can be a very solid shooter in this league. I definitely think he can be a really good off-ball player in this league. Once again, the defense isn't there because he's just so slim and he's so slow on his feet. I'm still going to take him here because I think the Timberwolves really need some type of shooting. I would not hate an Alex Caravan pick here, but I do think 15 is a little rich. I'm going to take Jaeger Demon here because I'm still a believer in him being able to learn how to make these decisions. I definitely don't think he's going to take a full-time guard role, but just to be able to be a secondary ball handler in situations or being able to attack closeouts really well and making decisions out of those closeouts, I just don't think he can be a lead ball handler, and that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just don't see it as of right now. As for the Indiana Pacers, I took Noah Essengay here. Once again, another project guy. He's 6'9", athletic. He does a lot of things well. I think he's a good defender. I think he's really good in transition. I think he could be a great off-ball player next to Tyrese Halliburton. There is a lot of things you would like to refine, though, and definitely find what is going to make him stick in the NBA. Because once again, if you're serviceable at a lot of things, but there's nothing that really makes you say, "Oh, Noah Essengay would be perfect on the floor right now," that's concerning. So we're just going to go with Noah Essengay here and, pair him with Jarris Walker, and you can have a lot of really good defensive players with Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith, Noah Essengay, and Jarris Walker. I think the Indiana Pacers could be building something on the back of their defense pretty soon. Up next, I'm going to take Boogie Fland with the OKC Thunder with the 17th pick. Boogie Fland is a guy that is very intriguing. He has shown a lot of motor defensively. He has a really good first step. He does create a lot of really good shots, and he is able to hit these tough shots when defenses are able to beat him to his spots. He does have a lot of counters to that. And I definitely think the OKC Thunder could use another initiator, another creator, because SGA and J-Dub, Chet, those guys are great. But once it gets out of that, Isaiah Joe really doesn't create his own shot consistently. Neither does Aaron Wiggins. Cason Wallace has trouble with that. I think having somebody like a microwave and Boogie Flynn who can come in and just make something spark out of the pick and roll or just out of isolation. I do think he does have a lot of trouble playing off ball, and I do think he does. I just don't think he has the willingness to play off ball. So that's something that could be concerning as well. But you live and you learn. I think he'll learn to do that a lot better. Up next, the OKC Thunder are picking once again. It's going to be really hard to believe that they keep all three of these picks in the draft. Maybe they just trade one of these picks for a future first. You know, maybe a team is desperate for a pick in this draft. I wouldn't hate, no, because they already have size. So I got to make a pick here. So I don't think I'm going to take Nick Clifford. Just a guy who is 6'6", who can be a scorer, a microwave scorer, shoot the ball handle. I'm going to take Nick Clifford here, and he's going to be the guy. As for the Utah Jazz, I'm going to go Nolan Traore. Nolan Traore has fallen off a cliff. He was top 5 for me right after the 2024 draft, but with the combination of shooting, the finishing around the rim has been really inconsistent. The defense has never really been that good in my opinion. The only thing that I think he's really holding on to is just the rim pressure that he does provide. I think he does have some struggles around just seeing the floor when he does get downhill, but being able to constantly put 2 feet in the basket when defenses are actively scheming against that, I think that's valuable. And I think a lot of things with the court vision and the awareness is going to be picked up. So I think Nolan Traore is going to be pretty good, but as of right now, he is actively falling pretty far in this list. So the Brooklyn Nets are here again, and there is a lot of upside still here. Hugo Gonzalez hasn't gotten a lot of minutes for Real Madrid, but I still believe in his rim pressure, him being a defensive prospect. He has shown some signs with his jump shot. That's not awful. I don't hate Labyrinth Feline here, but you don't want to do guard and guard. I think we're going to go with, once again, these are all off the top of my head. I had a draft prepared, but once again, I did this lottery simulator. I think I'm going to go with Hugo. There's some really solid upside with Hugo being a 6'6", 6'7" ball handler and having that defensive upside that he does have. I'm going to go Hugo here. As for the Atlanta Hawks, I think they really need a big. I don't think they're tied into Clint Capella or Onyeka Okongwu as much as a lot of people think. I think Thomas Sorber is going to be that guy. I think Thomas Sorber can play off of Trae Young tremendously. I think Trae Young is going to be able to feed him easy looks, play in and play out. His motor is really high. He's a great rebounder. He positions himself extremely well defensively, and he can be a lob threat, and he's really strong too. So I think Thomas Sorber is going to be the center for the Atlanta Hawks, and I would see a world where he could start pretty soon. Up next for the Orlando Magic, who have 2 picks in this draft, I think they're going to go Alex Karaban. Once again, this is a guy who is really just good shooter, good mid-range shooter, great off-ball player. He's always going to take the right shot. You never really question his shot selection. And that's somebody that Orlando needs. I think this is somebody that's going to come in and help win immediately. I think he's going to be able to knock down shots. I think he'll be able to play off Franz or Paolo very well. Once again, 6'8", 6'9", really good team defender. Somebody just with some winning experience is going to come in and make the right play 9 times out of 10. I think that works for Atlanta. As for Dallas, I think Dallas could get some athleticism and some versatility defensively. And I think Rasheer Fleming is that guy. He's about a 6'9" power forward who moves his feet extremely well defensively. He is strong enough to guard some stronger power forwards. Don't necessarily know about centers, but he also is versatile enough to switch on to some quicker wings like a Jaylen Brown or an Anthony Edwards. And I do see that in his ceiling, and I would just love to see Dallas get a little bit more creative defensively, especially with the on-ball defense, because having Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes is great, but their real deficiencies with Luka. Kyrie has been a lot better defensively, and Klay Thompson could be just a little too much for my liking, so I'm going to take Rasheer Fleming at number 23. There are a lot of guys who are still on the board that I don't necessarily love still being on the board. Like another one of my guys, Labyrinth Feline, who I won't be taking right now because once again, it's tough. Up next, I'm actually going to have the Orlando Magic take Cam Jones. This is a guy who is a senior. He puts the ball on the floor really well. He is a good shooter, and he has experience. Once again, the Magic are going to be going with win now prospects. And you know what? There we go. This is perfect. Labyrinth Phelan to the Memphis Grizzlies. I think Labyrinth Phelan plays well as a cutter. I definitely think he plays well in transition, and I think he's a great point of attack defender. The jump shooting is a question. Just being able to create your own shot consistently is a question, but I really believe in his defense, and I really believe in his transition play, and the grit and grind Memphis Grizzlies is back, man. They're back. They're back. Up next with the Brooklyn Nets, I'm going to go, where is he? There he is. Danny Wolf. Really intriguing to me. A 7-foot center who is a solid team defender and can put the ball on the floor really well. Great shooter, great shot creator. This is a truly superstar upside type of pick here, and I think Danny Wolf is going to be really good, man. 7 foot, 250 pounds, puts the ball on the floor really well, is a great rebounder, can shoot the piss out of the ball. I really like Danny Wolf, man. And up next, the Brooklyn Nets have one more pick. Why not just go with, where is he? Why not just go with Ian Jackson? I think he's going to grow into a really good defender. As of right now, we've just seen a lot of scoring from him, but I think at the he's going to really carve out a role in the NBA as a defender and somebody that can hit a shot occasionally and attack closeouts and just be another ball handler. So I think Ian Jackson is really good here. As for the Celtics, I definitely think they need some size. And once again, another guy that I'm really high on, Roko Zakarsky. Roko Zakarsky is a kid. He's 18 years old. But the rim protection is very intriguing to me. The way he's able to play in transition is very intriguing to me. The recovery time is impeccable. And I really see Jared Allen when I watch Roko Zakarsky play, because Jared Allen moves his hips extremely well in transition and on the perimeter. That makes it really liable to be a positive when guarding wings. I think Roko Zakarsky has that same technique. I think he has that same athleticism. I think he could be a finisher. And the best part about it is he does not have to play way too early. He can learn. With Jordan Walsh, with Baylor Shireman, with all these young guys that the Celtics have that I'm really high on. I'm really high on Jordan Walsh. But I really like this Roko Zakarsky pick right here. Up next for the Los Angeles Clippers, I definitely don't hate Dink Pate. Another guy I don't hate is Drake Powell, but I think he's probably going to be more of a second-round guy. Let's see. Scrolling down, I'm just starting to see more and more of what I don't like. Jalil Bethea, man. Oh, I was rooting for you, bro. You're just not getting the minutes for real. Anyway, I think I'm going to go Miles Bird here. He's extremely athletic, a slasher, a finisher. Maybe you get that jump shot together, but I think he can play well with James Harden. I'm going to go Miles Bird here with my 29th pick. And 30th for the Utah Jazz, who have Tre Johnson and Nolan Traore, we're going to go Dink Pate. Dink Pate, who is somebody, I think it's New Mexico City, who he plays for now in the G League. He has touched up his jump shot a little bit more. The ball handling is something that I still think is very promising. And I don't necessarily think he's going to be a lead guard, which is something he's been playing. But I definitely think as a wing, being that lengthy and being that athletic to be a solid defender, that's who I'm going to go with as of right now. So the entire first round of the 2025 NBA mock draft, which is something I have not done in a while, actually. I haven't done a full first round in a while, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The more we learn, you know what I'm saying, the more we do some watching, you know what I'm saying? I got a couple of plugs on YouTube that I watch these possessions of these players, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, at number 1 for the Toronto Raptors, I have Cooper Flagg. At number 2 for the Washington Wizards, I have Dylan Harper. At number 3 for the Portland Trail Blazers, I have Ace Bailey. At number 4 for the Charlotte Hornets, I have VJ Edgecombe. At number 5 for the New Orleans Pelicans, I have Kasparis Yakucionis. At number 6 for the Utah Jazz, I have Tre Johnson. At number 7 for the Brooklyn Nets, I have Jeremiah Fears. At number 8 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I have Asa Newell. At number 9 for the Chicago Bulls, I have Khaman Maluach. At number 10 for the Houston Rockets, I have Liam McNeeley. At number 11 for the the San Antonio Spurs, I have Kon Knueppel. At number 12 for the Sacramento Kings, I have Murray-Boyles. At number 13 for the San Antonio Spurs, I have Ben Seraph. At number 14 for the Golden State Warriors, I have Derek Queen. At number 15 for the Minnesota Timberwolves, I have Jaeger Demon. At number 16 for the Indiana Pacers, I have Noah Essengay. At number 17 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I have Boogie Fland. At number 18 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, I have Neek Clifford. At number 19 for the Utah Jazz, I have Nolan Traore. At number 20 for the Brooklyn Nets, I have Hugo Gonzalez. At number 21 for the Atlanta Hawks, I have Thomas Sorber. At number 22 for the Orlando Magic, I have Alex Carabin. At number 23 for the the Dallas Mavericks, I have Rasheer Fleming. At number 24, I have Cam Jones going to the Orlando Magic. At number 25, I have Labyrinth Phelan going to the Memphis Grizzlies. At number 26, I have Danny Wolf going to the Brooklyn Nets. I have Ian Jackson going to the Brooklyn Nets at number 27. I have Rocco Zakarsky going number 28 to the Boston Celtics. I have Miles Bird going number 29 to the Los Angeles Clippers. And at 30, I have the Utah Jazz selecting Dink Pate. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about 1 in. If you guys like this type of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate everybody watching. I look pretty tired. I'm sure you guys would be able to tell now that I've done full screen, but I look pretty tired. I look really tired, actually. But I just want you guys to see what comes into being a basketball or just a sports YouTuber. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? We're going to rant for the next 5 minutes. I hope you guys see the amount of time that is put into being an analyst. I just got done watching basketball. And I have to go to work in the morning. I just got done watching basketball. I haven't done this in a while. You know, this is something I used to do maybe a few months ago. I probably stopped, but I used to just show you guys my phone and what time it was. It's 1:07. It's 1:07. But yeah, it's a lot of time that goes into this stuff. So for all the people who do like and comment and subscribe and shout out to my YouTube channel and just show love to my YouTube channel, you guys know who you are. Once again, you guys can't be appreciated enough. You know, you guys are the reason why I'm up and probably will get 3 or 4 hours of sleep tonight. You guys are the reason, man. You guys are the reason. I really appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We're getting closer and closer to our goals. Soon, I'm going to be announcing my first update and production to this channel. There are a lot of things I'm about to add to this channel, and I'm very excited. And I'm going to be dropping them one by one. I'm just going to be giving you guys updates and news one by one. And one that's going to be coming within the next week or two. It's very big. It's very big. It's something that I'm really looking forward to doing. So that's always going to be fun. Anyway, if you guys like this type of video, like this type of content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, man. Once again, I can't explain enough how much this stuff means to me, man. I love basketball. I have an obsession with basketball. And just to be able to turn the camera on and talk about it and get great feedback, it means the world to me. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.